Poor single dad rushed Millionaire to hospital. 2 weeks later, her life changed. Rain lashed against the cracked windshield of Marcus Bell's battered 1998 Honda Civic as he drove home from his second shift at the warehouse. Beside him in the passenger seat, his 5-year-old daughter Lily slept soundly, her tiny fingers clutching a worn stuffed rabbit. At just 32, Marcus had already weathered more storms than most, widowed at 28, working 2 jobs, and barely scraping by in a 1-bedroom apartment on the outskirts of Chicago. But every time he looked at Lily, he knew he'd do anything to keep her safe, warm, and loved. That night, fate had other plans. As Marcus turned onto Lakeshore Drive, his headlights caught something unusual. A sleek black Mercedes had veered off the road and crashed into a guardrail. Steam hissed from its crumpled hood. Without hesitation, Marcus pulled over, told Lily to stay put, and ran through the downpour toward the wreck. Inside the car sat a woman in her late 20s, unconscious, blood trickling from her temple. Her designer red dress and diamond-studded watch screamed wealth, but in that moment, she was just another human in need. Marcus dialed 911, but the dispatcher said help could be 20 minutes away due to the storm. The lady's breathing was shallow, her pulse weak. He couldn't wait. Ignoring the risk, Marcus carefully lifted her into his back seat, buckled her in, and sped towards St. Vincent's Hospital, his old Civic groaning in protest. He left Lily sleeping in the front seat, whispering, "Daddy's just helping someone real quick, baby. Stay right here." At the ER, doctors rushed the woman inside. Marcus gave his name and number, then returned to his car, soaked and shivering. Lily blinked awake. "Did we save her, Daddy?" she asked softly. "I hope so, sweetheart," he replied, kissing her forehead. 2 weeks passed. Life returned to its grueling rhythm. Early shifts, instant noodles for dinner, helping Lily with her homework under a flickering lamp. Marcus never expected to hear from the lady again. He hadn't even known her name. Then, one afternoon, a black town car pulled up outside his apartment complex. Out stepped the woman from the Mercedes, Eleanor Whitmore, CEO of Whitmore Capital, a self-made billionaire known for her ruthless business acumen and icy demeanor. But today, her eyes held something new: warmth. She knocked on his door, holding a bouquet of white lilies. "Mr. Bell," she said, voice trembling slightly, "you saved my life." Marcus, stunned, could only nod. Eleanor explained that she'd suffered a ruptured aneurysm that night. If Marcus hadn't acted so quickly, she wouldn't have survived. "The doctors said I had minutes, and you, a stranger with nothing to gain, risked everything for me." Marcus shrugged. Anyone would have done the same. But Eleanor knew better. In her world of boardrooms and backstabbing, true selflessness was rare. She had spent her life building walls, believing trust was a liability. Marcus had shattered that belief with one act of pure humanity. 2 weeks later, Eleanor returned, not with flowers, but with a promise. She'd quietly paid off Marcus's crippling medical debt from his late wife's illness. She'd secured a full scholarship for Lily at a top private school, complete with tutoring and extracurriculars. And she'd offered Marcus a job, not out of pity, but respect, as head of community outreach for her newly founded nonprofit called Second Chances Initiative, aimed at helping single parents rebuild their lives. But the real change wasn't financial. Eleanor began visiting regularly, not as a benefactor, but as a friend. She would sit on Marcus's worn couch, sipping cheap coffee, listening to Lily's stories about school. Slowly, the hardened CEO rediscovered joy in simple things: bedtime stories, pancake sundaes, the sound of laughter in a modest home. One evening, as they watched fireflies chase in the courtyard, Eleanor turned to Marcus, tears in her eyes. "You didn't just save my life that night. You gave me a reason to live it differently." Marcus smiled. "Funny how life works. I thought I was helping you, but you've given my daughter a future I could never have dreamed of." In the months that followed, Eleanor used her influence and fortune not for more acquisitions, but for impact. She funded shelters, education programs, and childcare centers, all inspired by Marcus's quiet courage. And Marcus? He still worked hard, but now with hope in his heart and security in his steps. Lily thrived in school, her eyes sparkling with dreams of becoming a doctor, to help people like Daddy helped Miss Eleanor. Their stories spread, not as a viral headline, but as a quiet ripple of kindness that touched countless lives. Because sometimes, the most powerful transformations begin not with grand gestures, but with one person choosing to stop in the rain and care. Kindness costs nothing, but its value can change everything. In a world obsessed with status and wealth, it's the human heart that holds the real fortune. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs a reminder that goodness still exists, and never underestimate the power of one good deed. Thanks for watching.